So in the previous video, we set up the ability to add tasks from within projects, and we customize the look and feel of the tasks area of our app. In this video, we're going to rebuild this area of the project screen where we can see outstanding tasks and completed items. So let's start doing that here. Let's add a separator, and we're going to make it a medium spacing, and we're going to keep the line divider, and I'm going to put that above the button and also below the button. Okay, we'll add more components in a minute. So let's just test this whole process for the moment. Okay, so I'm going to add a new task. I'm going to say test due tomorrow, task owner, Tamsin, submit. Okay, so nothing's showing up in this project yet because we haven't added an inline list. But if we go to open tasks and we go to the bottom, we're going to see a test item. And if we go into that test item, we see that it's all working really well, which is great. And if we go into the data editor and look at that item all the way at the bottom, we can see that not only do we have all of the columns that are populated by the form, but we also, of course, have all of the computed columns that we set up earlier because they automatically apply to any new rows. So what we need to do now is go back to the open project, and let's go back into that one there, and let's add the inline list, which brings back all the tasks, okay? Now, the problem with this is if we add an inline list and we try and choose tasks, well, we don't have a relation column in the project's sheet yet pulling back tasks. And this is the funny thing, that if you want a many-to-many relationship, or a two-way relationship, I should say, between things, you need to set up a relation in both sheets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get rid of that a second, just so we can see the screen again. I'm going to go to the data editor, and I'm going to go to the project sheet. And what we need to do is pull back all the tasks that belong in this project. So we need a multiple relation. So I'm going to add a new column. It's going to be a relation. We've created so many relations in this series, and it's going to be tasks in this project. I mean, that's a bit of an obvious title, but I just want to make it super clear to you guys what we're doing. So it's going to relate to items where the row ID matches the project ID in the tasks sheet, and then we're going to match multiple. Okay, and if we look in one of these things, one of these cells here, we're going to see that we've got multiple items coming back. So if I go back to layout, now I can add that inline list again. It's already chosen the tasks in this project, right? I'm going to change that to a checklist layout. I'm going to make sure that this is all done correctly. We want the due on title here. And what I'm going to do is I'm only going to show a few items, and I'm actually only going to even show 2 items, okay? So this also needs to be up here. So let's pull this up. And there's a couple of things that we need to do again. If you think about it, we need to only show uncompleted tasks. So let's go into the features area, and we're going to add a filter. And we're going to say the status is not true. So that will keep all items that are not completed. And then the other thing that we need to do is click see all and configure this screen in the same way, right? So we're going to change this to a checklist layout, and we're going to change this to the due on title. And we are done for the moment. So next we need to show a list relation which shows all the outstanding tasks. In the finished template, we see this here, right? So if we go into this list relation, we'll see all of the finished tasks related to this project. And if we look at the list relation component, we've got the tasks relation coming in, the same relation that we set up earlier, but we're filtering in a different way. Instead of saying status is not true, we're saying status is true. So this will only show the ticked items, okay? So let's rebuild that in our rebuild, okay? I'm going to add a new list relation, and it's going to be tasks in this project. That's exactly the same thing that we want. But at the moment, right, if I pull this up so it's next to the inline list, there's going to be 4 items in this one here and 4 items in this one here, okay? But we want to filter them differently, okay? So this inline list needs to have status is not true, and then this inline list, or sorry, this list relation needs to have status is true. Okay? So now there are none in that component, which is why it's not showing. But if I, for example, tick off 2 of these, they disappear from this one. And then if I go back, we see tasks in this project. I'll rename that in a second. We see that they go in there, okay? So the last thing we need to do to make this make more sense to the user is change the label to be completed tasks. Great. So that is that screen. Let me just pull this underneath so it's exactly the same as our rebuild. And we are pretty much done. Let's just have a quick look. The component for choice needs to move all the way up to here. And I think that is finished. Okay, so that is a fair amount of stuff that we've covered in this video. I'm just going to round off with a few quick things to show you in the fully finished template. I'm not going to walk you through how to do them because they should be obvious to you by now, but just so you know that they're there. So we're in the fully finished template, and if I go over to the tasks area, we click into an item, we can edit that item, right? And you can add whatever properties you want to allow people to edit here. We can also, if we go back to the task list, add tasks from within the full task list as well. So this is a really important point. You can add tasks within projects, right, by clicking the add task button, or when you're in the task list, you can add items there. It's totally up to you. There's two places, two ways of adding. One with the form button from another collection, or on the actual list screen with the add button. And then the last thing is this on-screen filter, right? If we go to the features of this list layout, we have in-app filtering by task owner, okay? And that allows you to click on this and choose only tasks that are assigned to Alan. And I think there's only a few here, right? And then you can change that. So filtering is also really good when you have a long list of items. So that's tasks and projects. In the next video, we're going to rebuild the home screen.